Hey guys, thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to go through tying a funky fibre roach. So we're going to have this profile. We're going to tie it 6 inch long. If you alter the proportions, it can be tied smaller using the same profile. I know some of you will have seen my flash tail roach pattern on my Facebook page at Mscustomflies. It's exactly the same, but it's just incorporating some flashaboo through first. So before you tie the first bit of material in, you just taper some flashaboo, mix a few different colours, just some silver, some pearl, some blue, a little bit of black, some holographic, so even a touch of pink in that one, just a bit different. But yeah. You can also add orange gill plates, pectoral fins, sorry. You can put a little bit of sharper detail on that gill plate there, with a bit of red highlight. You can do away with pecs, you can add a little bit of pink. That's just some pink flash underneath, tiny pink Angelina fibre underneath the funky fibre there, just to show through. So yeah, so in the vise I've got a Daiichi 3111. It's a short shank, it's a decent sized gape on it, but it's a strong, robust hook, but it's light. You can also use a bit chewed up this packet, but it's a Sakuma 420, which again is a short shank wide gape. This one's slightly heavier, so it does pull the fly down a little bit faster. You see there, it is very similar size for size. Yeah, so let's look in the vise. What materials have we got here? We've got we've got funky fibre. It's tied exclusively from funky fibre. Silver baitfish, back multi, white, smoke for the back, orange if you want to have pecs, and then we've got some shimmer and shine. We've also got some Angelina fibre in violet pearl, green, you can see that properly, and silver. They're very fine, and they just blend in once you brush it through. Once you brush through the funky fibre, they blend in quite nicely. Again, we're using Unimono. You can use Unimono, UTC mono, it's size medium, or the medium in the UTC is 0.006, I think. So what we'll do is whip that on, start at the eye and come back to close to the point. So if I hang that down there, you'll see my thread now is in line with the point. I'll trim that off. I should say that I'm going to split this video into two. It's going to be longer than the other video that I did. It's slightly more involved. We're building the taper rather than we manipulated the fibre in the other video. This one we're building it from the material. So we'll start off with a longer bit, gradually work short, and aim for that kind of leaf type shape like that. You see there, if I move out the way, you can see how sparse that's tied. So it's got lots of kind of depth to the profile that way, but it's still very sparse. You can still see through it nicely. So I'm going to do this exactly as I would. I'm going to take the materials out of the packet. I've not got anything prepared. This is a full step by step from start to finish. What I'll do is I'll tie it, and I'll stop this video, and I'll start another one on the final trimming and the finishing. So we can use the fibres to build the profile how we want it. I forgot to pick one out of my bag. Obviously a roach and a perch would have quite a deep body on it there, but if you're tying say a brown trout par or something like that, or a dace, that'd be quite thin in the body and long. So if you're tying something like that, so say a dace or a brown trout, something along them lines, or just small bait fish, you don't want it to have like a deep profile, just use less material here. So sort of like say build it up. It's the same amount of tying points that we're going to use for this, but just a lot less, and that way that'll, instead of getting this volume here and the depth, what you'll do is you'll get a nice sleek shape and still get the same profile once it's just finished and trimmed. So what I'll do is you really don't need a lot of this material. We'll work through the tying points and we'll build it up through a little bit. So that's probably enough there. So I've gathered to say that much from the hank. Chop it off at the top full. Even if you're using short bits, just chop it fully at the top. Don't chop it down here. It just makes it harder for the next fly that you're going to tie, because you end up with short bits and long bits. So the first one, we're going to use full length. So again, just like we did in the other video, if you've watched that one, pull the centre of fibres out, taper it, give it a roll in between your fingers, pull that in back. Right, we're going to tie this one in exactly on halfway. So see it on top of the hook shank, secure it down, tie that down well. Now this one, we'll do, split that one, split it 50-50, come underneath the shank, pull it back, and then just nip it with your fingers there. Right, tie that one down fully in front there. That should just tie down there. What that's going to enable, because that's quite thin, this is going to be the tail bit there. That will just, on a straight pull, that, because it's so sparse, that'll allow that, just the fibres just to undulate, give it a swimming motion, bit of a wiggle. So then we'll go again with this one's silver bait fish. Roughly the same amount again. What we're going to do with this one though is we'll shorten that. We're going to use 3/4 of a length, so we'll chop a quarter off. You can save these bits if you like. If you just want to tie something small with it later, just throw them bits away. Again, taper that. Now this is where we're going to start building a bit of bulk across that way. Instead of tying on top, what we're going to do is we're going to X tie this. So we're going to lay it across, pass that over, tie that down. Doesn't need many, just a couple of wraps just to fully secure it. And then we can just leave that sat there like that. I'll give it one more wrap just to pull it down. Right, so what you've got one, you tie it exactly in the midpoint, across the top of the shank. You've got half at one side leaning back, half it the other side leaning forwards. Same again, we'll put some silver on the belly, and then we'll change to white on the belly after that. Chop it off 3/4, chop that in there, taper it. This one's going to go underneath, so you're going under there. Just hold that, come up, couple of wraps, skewer that down. Just move that a little bit further back, sorry. If you see me looking at the wrong direction, it's because I'm using the phone in reverse camera. Right, so we've got the bottom one underneath now, like side the same. So what we'll do is the ones that are pointing forwards, just grab them with your thumb, just give them a little bit push back, keep it on top of the shank if it's the top, underneath at the bottom if it's on the bottom. Stroke them fibres back a little bit, not tying down on top of, we're tying down in front of again, like we did in the other video. So just build a little bit of a thread down there. Right. So now this is entirely up to you. You can use a little bit of this, the shimmer and shine, if you want. You don't have to. You can just put one time point of that, and so it'll run through. You can just leave it out. It's entirely up to you. I'll put one tie in on it. So I'll just give that a little bit of a taper there. Tie that on top of. Tie that down. Just fold them wispy bits back. Tie down there. Right, what we'll do is, while we're still on the silver, we'll use Angelina fibre in violet pearl. I used to mix this in with the funky fibre by using the pet brush and brushing it through, but it's a bit more time consuming. All I'll do is we'll just tie a bit in there, pull it through like that, tie that in, and give them fibres just a little bit of a stroke back and tie them down. Right, super glue. Just a little blob just to secure all the materials in there. Right. On the back we'll change now to multi-bait fish back. So you've got a bit of smoke, a bit of grey, a bit of white, just a nice bit of a mixed colour. Separate some of them fibres. Trim that. Right, last time we used 3/4. What we'll do this time is we'll chop a third off. We'll put that to one side. That's going to be his next tie-in material. That. So pop that down there, taper that. Again, next tie this, so lay that on top and away from you, tie it down, 3 wraps. Then we'll change to white for the belly. We're using the same proportion of thickness, so it's not easy to see really, but it's still quite sparse. And again, we'll cut that down, take a third of that off. Pop that to one side, that's his next tie-in. Taper them. fibres back a little bit. Next, tie that again, so we'll come underneath with the rear bit facing towards you. Thread up and over, 2 or 3 turns, stroke that back, and again we'll grab the top material, go back with your thumb, just press it back, the bottom one just press that back too. You can see now it's kind of holding a bit of a, the line's not great, but it's holding a bit of a fishy shape. In front of, again, just hold them fibres back with the thread, don't squash them down with it, just hold them there. Once we've put some more flash through, we'll secure it down with super glue anyway, so it's not going to go anywhere. So we'll use more violet on the back, just pull a nice generous clump off. A lot of that will brush out when you brush it, but you get loads in a pack, so it's not like it costs a lot either. Just fold that back, tie that down. Right, now we've gone onto the white belly, so what we'll do is we'll change to the pearl green. And we'll use pearl green as the belly instead of blue. We'll keep using the violet. It does look blue though in the water. So pull some of that. Just pull it up the side of the hooks, give it a bit of a stroke underneath. You can flip your vise over if you want, if you've got rotary vise. I just find it just as easy to do it this way. Make sure that's underneath, pull that tight. Give that a flip back. Tie that down. Spot super glue. Back to your third of material that you cut off from your last tie-in. Taper that again. No, sorry, actually we'll leave that till the next one. What we'll do is we'll half the thickness of what we had. We'll chop the full length off. Then we'll fold that in half. So we've got the same thickness now, but we've used the full length rather than chopping it off halfway on the hank. So there you go. Same thing as taper that. And we'll use the third that we chopped off. We'll use that as the next one, sorry, rather than this one. So just give that a bit of a roll again. Pull them fibres out. Tie that down. Should be able to see there now. It's holding the kind of roach profile to it. Again, we'll pull half the fibres out on the white. Cut them the full length. Fold it in half, then cut it. Obviously, if you're tying more than one, these halves, you could leave that as a full one. Just pop it down the side. And cut it the full length, and then you chop 2 halves as the full width that we're using, and then on the next one your material's already prepared for you. So taper that again, and we're going to come underneath, tie it in halfway, pull it up, a few wraps, pull that tight, that one at the back, this one underneath. Tie that down in front and hold it back again. made my vice jump. Right, it's on the back this time. I've only got a couple more time points till the head's done. So what we'll do is we'll just put a little pinch of silver in there. Just tie that down. Fold that back. Green felt. Stick that under the belly. Fold that back. There we go. Right, what I'll actually do now is instead of using that third of the baitfish grey, what we'll do is just chuck that away. We'll use the white. Now we're going to change the tying style on this one slightly. So instead of X tying that, we're going to taper it, and we're going to V tie that. Obviously X ties this way, V ties, you just tie it down, fold it back on itself, if I say that. So just push that up the hook point, just stroke them fibres back there so it goes around the hook. Tie that down. Right, for the back, we use smoke just to give it a little nice dark back. So we'll separate half the fibres we need, but use a full length and chop it in half. So that much. Chop it in full length, fold it in half. Chop it. Now we'll tie this fully. I know we've shortened the fibres all the way along. We'll leave this one long, it'll blend in a little bit, and the rest we'll just trim up to a nice taper with the scissors when we've done tying. So I'll tie that down. Right, so just hold that, kind of roll it a little bit, just to, it'll spread the fibres, it'll surround it then rather than just going straight back. And then split the bottom one 50-50 with your fingers, so you go around the thread. You just pull them back. And then just tie that down. You can tie onto the nose a little bit with this, it doesn't really matter. So you can just pull them fibres down, just squash that a little bit there. We're not squashing it all down. And the fibres behind it have built that shape up, it'll hold that shape. So now, it's up to you. You can either put some orange on the belly, you could use Sharpie pen, you can just Sharpie details in, or you can just grab some orange. You don't need much of this at all. Chopped a full length off, but not a lot. Not that many fibres, fold it in half, cut it. So I'll do, I'll just turn the vice just for lining these pectoral fins up. So remembering that you've got going to stick a 10mm eye on, so you want maybe 20mm of orange, so you've got a little bit behind the eye still. So like see there, look, you've got 10mm of eye, and then you've got the orange highlight for a pectoral fin. So you just tie that down. Now you can either fold it over and tie it down that way, but it's probably just as easy just to give that a little trim in there with the scissors. The rest of them fibres will get tied down anyway when we whip finish. So then I'll just roll it that way just for ease, just to line them up so they're both the same. Tie that down there. Trim with the scissors. So, got 2 pectoral fin highlights on there, so we can just go ahead and whip finish that down. Grab your whip finishing tool or give it a 3-finger whip finish, 2-finger whip finish, sorry. Tie that down nice and tight. Give your thread a little nick. A little bit of super glue on there, yeah. On that mono just to secure everything down so it doesn't come untied while you're fishing. Although it won't do because we're going to bug bond it in the next video. Put a little bit of a head on it, just give it a little bit of weight, give it a bit of better swimming motion. Right, so basically that's the tying mode. There you get tying stages done. So join me back in part 2 and we'll trim this up, make it look a little bit better. Thanks for watching. See you in part 2.